Hello, my friend. Before we begin, I want to take a deep breath with you. Just for a moment, pause the noise of the day, the news, the routines, the appointments, the worries. Now, let me ask you something gently but directly. How have you been feeling lately? Not just your blood pressure or your cholesterol levels. I mean, how are you truly feeling? Do you feel connected? Desired? Touched? Do you wake up in the morning feeling like your body is still alive with purpose? Or have you noticed it's been a while since someone looked at you not just with concern, but with affection? You see, over the years, I've sat across from thousands of patients just like you, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, even into their 80s. People who have worked hard, raised families, survived grief, given so much of themselves to others, only to realize that somewhere along the way, they stopped being touched. Stopped being held, stopped being seen as someone who still longs to feel close. Let's be honest, sex and intimacy are not easy topics to bring up, especially as we age. Society has trained us to believe that intimacy is for the young. That desire is something we're supposed to leave behind like an old photo album on a dusty shelf. That after a certain age, love becomes something only spiritual or sentimental. But here's the truth. I want you to hear clearly. Your need for intimacy never expires. Your body may change. Yes, it will slow. It may ache. And it may look different in the mirror. But it never stops craving warmth. Contact. Connection. And if you've been telling yourself, it's too late for me, I'm here to tell you, not as a distant doctor in a white coat, but as someone who truly cares about your well-being, you are still very much alive. In fact, more than you know. You see, what I'm about to share with you might surprise you. Because if you're not experiencing intimacy in this season of life, whether that means sex, closeness, or even gentle physical affection, you may be missing out on one of the most powerful forms of medicine your body can receive. Yes, medicine. There are real consequences to a lack of intimacy in old age, not just emotionally, but physically, mentally, even spiritually. And the flip side. The benefits of maintaining intimacy, at your pace, on your terms, are profound. This is not about performance. It's not about youth. It's not even about keeping up. It's about reclaiming something essential that still belongs to you, the right to feel alive in your own skin. So today, I invite you to listen with an open heart. Whether you're in a long-term relationship, newly single, grieving a loss, or simply unsure what's possible, this message is for you. Not to push you, but to remind you. Remind you that intimacy is not a luxury. It's not a reward for beauty. It's a part of your health, a part of your humanity, and it might just be the key to unlocking the joy, energy, and connection you've been quietly craving. Let's begin this journey together. You deserve it. Part 1. The Science of Aging and Human Touch. Let's begin with what's happening inside your body. Aging is a journey we all walk, one marked by wisdom, reflection, and resilience. But it's also marked by changes. Changes in hormone levels, circulation, skin elasticity, and even how we experience pleasure and touch. As you grow older, your levels of important hormones, like testosterone, estrogen, and oxytocin, begin to decline. These are not just reproductive hormones. They're deeply connected to how we feel emotionally, how well we sleep, how sharp our minds remain, and how connected we feel to others. Take oxytocin, for example, often called the love hormone. It's released through physical contact, hugs, holding hands, cuddling, and sexual intimacy. It's nature's way of strengthening bonds between people. And yes, it still flows in our later years when we allow ourselves to be touched and loved. Now imagine what happens when we're deprived of that. When no one touches us, when we stop touching ourselves, or when we avoid vulnerability altogether, those hormone levels plummet. That leads to higher levels of cortisol, your stress hormone, which increases inflammation, lowers immunity, and accelerates aging. The irony? The less intimacy we have, the more our body speeds up the aging process. It's a quiet crisis I see every day. People who believe it's normal to withdraw from touch when in fact, that very withdrawal might be slowly wearing down their body and mind. But here's the hope. Even small, gentle acts of physical affection, a hug, a caress, a kiss, can start reawakening those dormant hormonal responses. Intimacy is not just something you used to do, it's something your body still needs. Part 2. What really happens when we abstain from intimacy in old age? Let's speak plainly. When intimacy fades from your life, whether due to health conditions, loss of a partner, shame, or fear, there are real consequences. Let's look at the physical ones first. Without regular sexual activity or meaningful touch, the body experiences increased risk of cardiovascular issues. Yes, believe it or not, studies show that seniors who maintain healthy sexual activity have better circulation, healthier blood pressure, and lower risk of heart disease, weakened pelvic floor muscles, and increased chances of incontinence. Reduced hormonal function, which can affect energy levels, bone density, and muscle mass. Now let's talk about the emotional and mental effects, often even more devastating. Many of my patients report feeling isolated, unattractive, disconnected from their partners, emotionally numb, chronically fatigued without knowing why. Even in loving relationships, when intimacy is no longer present, couples can begin to feel more like roommates than soulmates. And if you're single or widowed, the silence can be deafening. The absence of touch, of closeness, can slowly hollow you out, even if everything on the surface appears fine. And here's something you might not expect. Intimacy and cognitive health are deeply linked. Seniors who remain physically and emotionally connected with others, including through touch and sex, are less likely to suffer from depression and cognitive decline. So what happens when we don't have sex in old age? Quite simply, we begin to disconnect not just from others, but from ourselves. But here's the good news, and it's truly good news. This can change. No matter how long it's been, no matter your current circumstances, the body remembers. The heart remembers. The nervous system remembers. With openness, honesty, and care, intimacy can be restored, even transformed into something richer, slower, deeper than ever before. Part 3. Debunking the myths. Sex is not just for the young. Let's take a moment to dismantle some harmful myths that may be holding you back. Myth number 1. Sex is only for the young. This belief is perhaps one of the most damaging. It has caused so many people to give up on something vital to their well-being. In truth, many people experience their most satisfying sexual connections later in life. Why? Because intimacy becomes less about performance and more about connection, trust, and emotional presence. Myth number 2. I'm too old to start again. Whether you're in a long marriage, newly single, or healing from loss, let me be clear. There is no expiration date on love or touch. I've had patients find new partners and rekindle deep intimacy in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. One 76-year-old widow told me, "I thought my love life was over. Now I'm happier than I was at 40. Myth number 3. It's shameful or embarrassing to talk about. Unfortunately, many of us were raised in environments where sex was a taboo subject. But now, you have the right and the responsibility to advocate for your health and happiness. Talking openly with your doctor, your partner, or a therapist is not shameful. It's courageous. Myth number 4. It's not worth the effort. The truth is, intimacy might require new forms of communication. It might be slower, more mindful, more tender, but those qualities often make it better, not worse. Sensuality can be expressed in so many ways beyond intercourse, through kissing, touching, talking, massage, bathing together, or simply lying beside each other in loving silence. Let's say it clearly. Sex is not about youth. It's about vitality, and vitality is something that can be cultivated at any age, with intention and care. Part 4. The hidden power of sexual activity for seniors. Let me ask you a surprising question. What if your best medicine isn't in a pill, but in your skin, your breath, your heart, and your connection with another human being? You see, sexual activity in older adults isn't just about pleasure. It's a powerful health tool. When approached with care and intention, intimacy becomes a therapeutic act, with benefits that ripple through every system in your body. Let's take a closer look. 1. A stronger heart. Sexual activity increases heart rate and improves circulation, similar to light exercise. In fact, studies show that regular intimacy can help regulate blood pressure, reduce stroke risk, and improve arterial health. When the heart is pumping, with love or excitement, it stays healthier longer. 2. A brain that glows. Sexual arousal and orgasm release a wave of beneficial neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and serotonin. These chemicals improve memory, reduce anxiety, and even stimulate the growth of new brain cells. Yes, intimacy literally makes your brain sharper. 3. Better sleep, naturally. After sex, the body releases prolactin and oxytocin, both of which promote deeper, more restful sleep. And good sleep, in turn, supports immunity, mood regulation, and healing. Many patients tell me, "I haven't slept like that in years." That's not a coincidence. 4. Pain relief. Here's something fascinating. Sexual activity can reduce chronic pain. During arousal and orgasm, the body produces natural painkillers that can relieve headaches, arthritis discomfort, and even fibromyalgia symptoms. It's nature's pharmacy, and it's built into you. 5. Boosted immunity and longevity. Regular physical affection has been shown to increase levels of immunoglobulin A, IgA, a key antibody that protects against infections. People in physically intimate relationships often experience fewer colds, lower inflammation markers, and improved recovery rates from illness. So, my friend, if you've been thinking that sexual health is extra or optional, I encourage you to reconsider. It's foundational. A wellspring of healing that's available to you, not through external prescriptions, but through reconnection, with yourself or with someone you trust. Part 5. Emotional and spiritual benefits of late-life intimacy. Now, let's move beyond biology. Because as important as hormones and neurotransmitters are, the deepest power of intimacy is found in the heart, in that quiet, sacred space where two people say, "I see you, I choose you. I still matter, and so do you." In later life, intimacy can feel less hurried and more meaningful. Gone are the pressures of performance. What remains is presence, and presence is where real emotional healing begins. Rekindling emotional connection. So many couples in long-term relationships come to me saying they feel like strangers. Life has pulled them in different directions: careers, caregiving, health challenges. But intimacy has the power to bring them back to one another, slowly and sweetly. Touch, shared laughter, whispered vulnerability. They restore what was buried under the weight of daily life. A renewed sense of self-intimacy helps you feel seen, not as an aging body or a fading role, but as a living, breathing, beautiful person. It revives self-confidence. It reminds you, you are still desirable. You are still capable of love, and that feeling of being wanted, appreciated, touched, is deeply healing. It can mend wounds that words never could. Spiritual intimacy. For many, sex later in life becomes a spiritual act, not in the religious sense necessarily, though for some it may be, but in the sense of deep interconnectedness. Two souls sharing breath, warmth, and trust. In a world that often prizes speed and surface, these moments become sacred. Hope where you least expect it. One of my favorite stories is of an 82-year-old man who fell in love again after losing his wife of 50 years. He told me with tears in his eyes, "I thought I was too old for this. But now, I believe God wasn't done with me yet." That, my friend, is the magic of late-life intimacy. It reminds us that life isn't over. It's simply evolving. Part 6. Intimacy after loss. Finding love and touch again. This next part is tender. Because for many of you watching, intimacy is not absent by choice. It's absent because you lost someone you loved deeply. Maybe it was a spouse, a partner, a dear friend who once held your hand every night. Their absence is not just emotional, it's physical. The bed feels bigger, the evenings feel quieter. And sometimes, even years later, a part of you still waits for their hand to reach over. Grief, in its many forms, can leave us feeling untouchable, not just by others, but by life itself. And yet, deep within you may be a quiet longing. A longing to feel close again, to be held, to be known. And that longing may be met with guilt. Am I betraying their memory? Am I too broken to start over? What if I've forgotten how to love? Let me speak directly to your heart now. You are not betraying anyone by choosing love again. Love is not a single flame that dies with a person. It is a fire that changes shape, color, and intensity throughout your life. If you feel the desire to connect again, emotionally, physically, spiritually, that is not weakness. That is life trying to reach you again. Permission to begin again. There is no timeline for grief. But there is grace in giving yourself permission to heal, to open, to explore, to be seen once more. Whether it's forming a new relationship, opening your heart to companionship, or simply allowing someone to hold your hand, you are allowed to take that step. Building trust. Slowly. It may take time. You may feel uncertain. That's okay. Intimacy after loss is not about rushing. It's about remembering that love is still possible. Start small. Share a meal. Take a walk. Laugh again. Then, let the body follow the heart's pace. You are still capable of love. Above all, remember this. You are still worthy of touch, of laughter, of love that doesn't ask you to forget, but honors where you've been and welcomes where you're going. The next chapter of your love story doesn't replace the last. It simply reminds you that the book isn't finished yet. Part 7. Medical roadblocks. Don't suffer in silence. Now, let's be honest. Sometimes it's not fear, grief, or myths holding you back from intimacy. Sometimes it's your body, and that can be deeply frustrating. Maybe you've noticed physical changes that make intimacy harder. Maybe there's pain, or dryness, or trouble getting or maintaining arousal. Maybe your medications affect your libido. Maybe you've even said to yourself, "I want to connect, but my body just won't cooperate anymore." Let me reassure you of this. You are not alone. In fact, these are some of the most common and treatable issues that I hear from patients over 50. For men, Erectile dysfunction, ED, often caused by decreased blood flow, medications, diabetes, or high blood pressure. It's not a reflection of your masculinity, it's a medical issue, and it can be treated. Performance anxiety. Yes, even in later life, worrying about performance can actually create more difficulties. Talking about it helps. For women, vaginal dryness or pain. After menopause, estrogen levels drop, leading to thinning tissues. This can make intimacy uncomfortable. But solutions exist. Water-based lubricants, vaginal moisturizers, and estrogen creams can help immensely. Low libido. Hormonal shifts, stress, and medications all play a role. Addressing the cause can often reignite desire. Shared challenges. Arthritis, chronic pain, fatigue, limited mobility. These are real issues, but they don't have to be barriers. Often, adjusting positions, pace, or timing can create a new path to pleasure. Medication side effects, blood pressure pills, antidepressants, or sleep aids can dull sexual response. Talk to your doctor. Alternatives often exist. Here's the key message. You don't have to just live with it. Far too many people suffer in silence, thinking their concerns are trivial or shameful. But sexual health is health, and you have every right, at any age, to ask for help. Whether it's from your primary doctor, a urologist, a gynecologist, or a sex therapist, you deserve to be heard, supported, and given options. Because you haven't aged out of love, you may just need new tools and new courage to make it work. Part 8. Safe sex and consent still matter. Now that we've opened the door to healing, let's talk about something that often gets left out of the conversation. Sexual safety. Consent, respect. These values are ageless, and just as important now as they were when we were younger. In fact, in some ways they matter more now, because the stakes are higher. Our bodies are more vulnerable, our histories more complex, and our boundaries more sacred. Let's talk about STIs. You may be surprised to hear this. Rates of sexually transmitted infections, STIs, have been rising among adults over 60, especially in retirement communities. Why? Because many people in this age group believe STIs are only a young person's concern. Add to that a lower likelihood of using protection due to lack of pregnancy concerns, and we have a dangerous mix. But listen, protection is not just for teenagers. It's for anyone engaging in new or multiple sexual relationships. Use condoms. Talk openly with your partner about testing. Get tested yourself, especially if you're re-entering the dating world after a long-term relationship. Emotional safety and consent. In any stage of life, consent is sacred. That means clear, enthusiastic agreement to engage in any form of intimacy. It means listening, checking in, and respecting a partner's comfort level, and your own. If you ever feel pressured, unsure, or unsafe, know that saying no is your right, and saying yes only matters when it comes from freedom, not obligation. Also, remember that many people carry emotional scars from past experiences. Trauma doesn't vanish with age, and kindness goes a long way. Approach each new connection with compassion and curiosity, not assumption. You are never too old to set boundaries. You are never too old to ask questions. You are never too old to deserve respect. Part 9. Intimacy for singles. The power of self-love and connection. Let me speak now to those of you who are single, not by choice perhaps, or maybe by design. You might be thinking, this doesn't apply to me. I don't have a partner anymore. My love life ended a long time ago. But here's what I want you to hear clearly. Intimacy is not just about another person. It begins with you. Whether or not you're in a relationship, you are still a sensual, emotional being. And nurturing that part of you, even in solitude, can be healing, energizing, and life-giving. Rediscovering self-intimacy. Have you allowed yourself to feel pleasure lately? To touch your own body with kindness, not judgment? To take a bath and feel the warmth soak into your skin? To run your fingers across your arm and thank it for carrying you through life? That too is intimacy. Self-touch, sensual rituals, and mindful breathing are not signs of loneliness. They are signs of self-awareness. They tell your nervous system, I am still alive. I am still worthy of love, even from myself. Connecting beyond the physical intimacy also lives in connection, not just sexual but emotional and spiritual. A deep conversation with a trusted friend, a gentle embrace from a grandchild, the silent companionship of a beloved pet. The beauty of music, nature, or prayer, things that awaken the soul. If you feel alone, know this: you are not broken. You are simply in a season of redefining connection. And if a new relationship does appear, online, at church, in a coffee shop, don't be afraid to stay open. You never know when life may send someone your way, someone who sees you not for your age, but for your warmth, your wisdom, your light. In the meantime, your love for yourself can be a powerful, healing force. Don't wait for someone else to remind you that you matter. Look in the mirror. Whisper it gently. I still matter. Because you do. Part 10. Rewriting your love story. After 50. Let me ask you something deeply personal. What do you believe your love story is supposed to look like now? Many people over 50 assume that their romantic chapter is over, that they've already written the best pages, and what remains is a quiet closing. But what if that's not true? What if you still have the pen in your hand? What if the most tender, courageous, beautiful part of your love story is still ahead? Because whether you've been with your partner for decades, whether you've been single for years, or whether you're standing at the edge of something new, you can always choose to rewrite your relationship with love and intimacy. Start with forgiveness. Forgive the years you neglected your own needs. Forgive your body for changing. Forgive your heart for closing off in times of pain. Forgive yourself for thinking you had to settle for just getting by. You are allowed to begin again. Reclaiming desire. Desire at this age isn't flashy or urgent like it once was, but it is deeper. It's rooted in understanding, acceptance, and shared presence. Ask yourself honestly, what do I long for now? What kind of touch, connection, or closeness feels right for this version of me? What fears do I need to release? You are not asking for too much. You are asking to be known, fully. That is brave. Taking small, brave steps. If you're in a long-term relationship, start with a simple, intentional act. Hold their hand. Look into their eyes. Say, I miss being close to you. Let vulnerability guide you back to each other. If you're alone, try this. Sit with your heart. Ask it what it still wants. Then take one step. A call, a walk, a new social group, a conversation online. Stay open. Your story isn't finished. And maybe, just maybe, the next chapter will surprise you with how much love it still holds. Part 11. Building a lifestyle that supports intimacy. Now let's talk about something practical and powerful. Creating a life that welcomes intimacy. Because connection isn't just about emotion or biology, it's about habits. The truth is, intimacy flourishes when the body and mind feel safe, energized, and open. That means caring for your whole self, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. 1. Nutrition that fuels desire. A healthy diet supports blood flow, hormonal balance, and energy. Some intimacy-friendly foods include leafy greens like spinach, boost circulation. Avocados, rich in healthy fats and vitamin E, salmon and walnuts, promote brain and vascular health. Dark chocolate and berries, rich in antioxidants that support dopamine release. Stay hydrated. Eat fresh, colorful foods. Treat your meals as a celebration, not just of nourishment but of pleasure. 2. Gentle movement and exercise. You don't need to run marathons, but regular movement improves. Circulation, flexibility, confidence in your body. Try walking, swimming, yoga, or dancing. Moving your body reminds you, I'm still here. I still feel good. 3. Creating a sensual environment. Set the mood, not for anyone else, but for yourself. Use soft lighting. Light a candle or diffuse calming essential oils. Play music that stirs something in you. Wear clothes that make you feel good on your skin. This is not vanity. It's intimacy with your surroundings. It's creating a life that says, I am worth beauty and comfort. 4. Mindfulness and breath. Sometimes the body is willing, but the mind is racing with anxiety, shame, or fear. That's where mindfulness helps. Take deep, slow breaths. Be present with your sensations. Let go of expectations. Be curious. Meditation, gentle touch, even simply lying quietly with your partner can reset your nervous system. It's the pathway to deeper connection. 5. Rest and restoration. Intimacy requires energy. Get enough sleep. Create a bedtime ritual. Wind down. Rest is not laziness. It's your foundation. Build a lifestyle that honors your needs, and intimacy will find room to bloom again. Part 12. How relationships grow deeper with age. There's a myth we need to shatter. The myth that passion fades with time. Yes, it changes, but often it becomes something even more profound. Because as we age, we learn how to be present. We stop rushing. We begin to value softness over speed. We learn that real connection isn't about perfection. It's about presence. The gift of knowing each other. For couples who've been together for decades, every wrinkle, every scar, every story is part of the fabric you've woven together. Your intimacy may not look like it did at 25, but that's a good thing. It's richer now, more forgiving, more real. The simple act of saying, I see you, after all these years, is its own form of passion. The joy of discovering each other anew. And for those entering new relationships later in life, there's magic here too. There's the excitement of rediscovery. The joy of being chosen for who you are now, not who you were in your youth. You're more honest now. You know what matters. And you're not here to impress. You're here to connect. The beauty of shared silence. Sometimes intimacy isn't touch or words, it's presence. Sitting together quietly. Watching the sunset. Sharing a pot of tea. That's a form of love that speaks louder than grand gestures. Love, seasoned by time. In youth, love is often about intensity. In age, love is about depth. And depth, my friend, is where the truest intimacy lives. In knowing someone, and letting yourself be known. That's not the end of desire. That's the beginning of something sacred. Conclusion. This chapter is still yours to write. So here we are, my friend. We've traveled through biology and emotion, through science and soul, through grief, renewal, and possibility. And now I want to leave you with something simple but sacred, a truth you may have forgotten. You are not too old. You are not too late, and you are certainly not alone. This isn't just about sex. This is about connection, touch, presence, love, in whatever form it takes for you. Maybe it's the warmth of a partner's embrace. Maybe it's the rediscovery of your own body after years of silence. Maybe it's a late-night conversation that leaves you feeling known, or the courage to open your heart again, even after loss, or simply the decision to stop hiding from yourself, your needs, your desires, your dreams. You see, aging isn't about shrinking. It's about deepening, and that includes your right to feel vibrant, intimate, and loved. If no one has told you this in a while, let me be the one to say it now. You are still worthy of passion. You are still capable of great love. You are still alive in ways you've barely begun to touch. So take the hand of the one you love, or take your own hand, and begin again. Speak the words you've been afraid to say. Ask the questions you've buried. Reignite the spark that still flickers within you, because it's there, waiting for your breath to bring it to life. This chapter is not the end. It is a reclamation, a return to truth, to touch, to tenderness. And whether you are 55, 65, 75, or beyond, you are allowed to love fully. To feel fully, to live fully. Your story is not over. It's unfolding, one intimate, intentional, powerful page at a time. So go write it. With love. With courage. With your heart open and your spirit fully awake. I'll be cheering you on every step of the way.